If you want to destroy your brain faster, eat salmon. Yes, you heard that right. While many people believe they're protecting their memory by eating this fish, what most don't know is that one overlooked detail might be doing the exact opposite, fueling brain degeneration. And the worst part, it's happening right now in millions of American homes. But hold on, I'll explain everything when we get to food number 4. And once you learn the reason, you'll think twice before putting it on your plate again. Now, let me ask you something. Have you felt like your mind just isn't the same anymore? Words disappear, thoughts get stuck, and names even of close people just slip away. That might seem normal with age, but the truth is, certain foods speed this up, and you might be eating these brain enemies every single day, thinking you're doing the right thing. Today, more than 6 million Americans live with Alzheimer's. And the scariest part, in many cases, cognitive decline starts silently to 20 to 30 years before a diagnosis. In other words, if you're over 50, what you eat today is shaping the brain you'll have at 70. And here's the brutal truth. The food industry is making billions off products that inflame your brain, disrupt neuron communication, and raise your risk of dementia, and no one is warning you about it. That changes now. In this video, you're going to discover the 5 most dangerous foods for your brain health. Some of them are part of your routine. Others you might have even thought were soupy foods, but all of them, without exception, quietly sabotage your mind. And the worst part, even doctors and nutritionists are still ignoring the latest studies on these risks. So if you want to protect your memory, stay independent, and keep being you as the years go by, watch this video until the end. Because at the end, I'm going to show you how a few small changes in what you eat can save you years of clarity, freedom, and independence. And if you want to keep getting science-backed tips explained in a clear and practical way, hit that subscribe button and help this channel bring real information to the people who need it most. Now let's get into it. Food 1. Processed vegetable oils. Picture this. You wake up early, prep a healthy breakfast, fry an egg, saute some veggies, but without realizing it, you've started your day feeding brain inflammation. How? By using what seems harmless: soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, or sunflower oil. These highly refined vegetable oils are like throwing gasoline on the fire of nerve. They're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, and in excess, those throw off the brain's delicate inflammatory balance. The human brain is about 60% fat, and to function properly, it needs the right kind of fat. So guess what happens when those fats are replaced with artificial, unstable, oxidized versions? Neuron membranes weaken. Communication between them breaks down. Inflammation sets in, and with it comes memory loss, brain fog, trouble focusing. And it gets worse. These oils go through harsh industrial processing with hexane, a chemical solvent that should be nowhere near your food. A study published in the Journal of Lipid Research showed that regular consumption of refined oils is linked to neuron death and lower levels of BDNF, critical protein for brain repair and growth. So if you're cooking with vegetable oil meal after meal, you could be slowly chipping away at your cognitive power. What's the alternative? Use stable natural fats like extra virgin olive oil at low-heat ghee or coconut oil in moderation, of course. They're healthy fats that protect your neurons and help keep your brain young. There's even a recommended amount for extra virgin olive oil. Aim for about 2 tablespoons per day. Avoid frying with it, even olive oil, because high heat can oxidize the fat. And if you're sensitive to saturated fats, talk to a healthcare professional before increasing your intake of butter or coconut oil. Now stop for a moment and think. How many times a week are you using those bad oils without even realizing it? Because here's the thing. If you don't cut them out now, the damage may be irreversible. Over time, the brain inflammation caused by these oils can lead to much more serious problems, like dementia, Parkinson's, or even early onset Alzheimer's. And maybe now you're wondering, if these oils are so harmful, why are they everywhere? Why are they on supermarket shelves, in restaurants, even in so-called healthy foods? Well, this is one of those cases where science lost to marketing. It all started in the early 20th century. At the time, the industry needed a cheap way to use up the byproducts of cotton and corn production. That's when refined vegetable oil was born, an industrial invention, not a gift from nature. Yes, it was originally created to be a machine lubricant, and only later was adapted for human consumption through a chemical process nobody ever warned you about. But the real turning point came in the 1950s with the famous war on saturated fat. A scientist named Ansel Keys published studies linking animal fats to heart disease. Studies that were later heavily criticized by the scientific community. Still, the food industry jumped on board with that idea, and vegetable oils started being promoted as the new miracle fix. The result? Aggressive marketing campaigns, labels screaming light, heart healthy, cholesterol free, and just like that, soybean oil became a household staple in America. Even though behind the scenes, studies were already hinting at serious cellular and neurological damage from continued use. So why are they still being sold? Simple. They're dirt cheap to make, they last forever on store shelves, and they boost profit margins like crazy. In other words, the money they save, you pay for with your health. And here's the cruel part. Many people still think they're making a healthy choice, when in reality, they're speeding up a silent process of cognitive decline. And if that shocked you, wait until you hear about the next food. It might make you question whether your breakfast is really as healthy as you think. Food 2. Healthy breakfast cereals. Picture this. You wake up, grab that colorful box from the pantry, pour a bowl, and add milk. Sounds like a healthy start to the day, right? Especially if the packaging says things like high in fiber, whole grain, or fortified with vitamins. But here's the harsh truth. Some of the worst foods for your brain come wrapped in pretty boxes, and they're often hiding in your morning routine. Most packaged cereals are packed with refined sugars, artificial dyes, chemical preservatives, and worst of all, glyphosate, a pesticide linked to chronic inflammation and hormone disruption. And yes, even the fit or low-cal cereals can contain these ingredients. They're just better at hiding them. So, what does this have to do with your brain? Spikes in blood sugar triggers silent inflammation that hits your brain cells hard. This messes with everything from memory to focus and mental clarity. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people with high blood sugar, even without diabetes, have a significantly higher risk of developing dementia. And you know what's even more concerning? This roller coaster of glucose and insulin caused by breakfast cereals leaves you tired, hungrier, and mentally sluggish, and you don't even realize the culprit is sitting right there in your morning bowl. Now it makes sense why, even when you're eating right, you still feel drained and more forgetful, doesn't it? So, what can you do instead? Swap out boxed cereals for real, wholesome options like plain oats, no flavors, no added sugar, scrambled eggs with veggies, or a smoothie with avocado and seeds. You can still have a quick and convenient breakfast. You just need to make smarter choices. But if you keep relying on processed cereals, especially those fake high-fiber ones, you risk developing brain insulin resistance, one of the early steps toward Alzheimer's. And food 3. Well, if you ever fell for the low-fat or light trend, it might be sitting in your fridge right now and fooling you for years. Food 3. Light yogurt and other fat-free products. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you probably heard over and over that fat was the enemy. That's exactly when products like light yogurt, fat-free, lactose-free, and even probiotic versions hit the shelves. But here's an uncomfortable truth. In many cases, the lighter the product claims to be, the heavier the impact on your brain. Why? Because when manufacturers strip yogurt of its natural fat, they have to replace the flavor and texture with something else. And guess what they use? Hidden sugars, chemical thickeners, artificial flavors, modified starches, and even high-fructose corn syrup. So instead of being a nutritious, balanced food, it becomes a disguised inflammatory bomb. Your brain needs healthy fats to function properly. The myelin sheath, a protective layer around your neurons that helps them communicate, is made mostly of fat. When you deprive your body of natural fat and replace it with artificial stuff, you're sabotaging your nervous system from the inside out. On top of that, the excess sugar in these products, even the sugar-free ones made with artificial sweeteners, like aspartame, can throw off your gut microbiome and directly affect the gut-brain axis. Studies have already shown that sweeteners like sucralose and asulfame K can impact mood, increase anxiety, and reduce brain plasticity. So what should you do? If you enjoy yogurt, go for the real thing whole milk, plain and unsweetened. You can add cinnamon, berries, chia seeds, or even a spoonful of real honey to flavor it yourself. Even better, traditional fermented yogurts can support memory and cognitive health thanks to their natural probiotics. But be warned, if you keep consuming those trendy fitness yogurts off the shelf, you could stay trapped in a cycle of inflammation and hormonal imbalance, silently chipping away at your mental clarity. Now that you understand the problem with light yogurts, we need to talk about something few people mention, and once you learn it, you might never look at your yogurt the same way again. You know those strawberry grape or raspberry yogurts with a vibrant, rich color, that beautiful pink or purple that looks so appetizing and natural? Well, that color probably comes from a dye called carmine, or E120, and it's made from crushed insects. Yes, from a specific bug called the cochineal. These little creatures are farmed on a massive scale, mostly in South America, and then crushed to extract a red pigment. It's the same pigment used in cosmetics, lipsticks, and believe it or not, many kids' yogurts and so-called natural products. And while carmine is technically considered natural, it can trigger allergic reactions, especially in people with sensitivities or a history of food intolerances. On top of that, your brain reacts negatively to the constant presence of chemical additives and artificial dyes even, the ones labeled as naturally derived, and those other synthetic dyes like tartrazine yellow or brilliant blue, commonly used in various yogurt flavors, have already been linked to behavioral changes, attention disorders, and even mood swings. So tell me, is that really how you want to start your day? What's the best alternative then? Make your own yogurt at home, and it's actually easier than you think. Here's a simple step-by-step. Boil 1 liter of milk. You can use cow's milk, goat's milk, or even plant-based milk. Let it cool down until it's warm around 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius. Mix in 1 tablespoon of plain, whole milk yogurt, unsweetened, unflavored. Transfer the mixture into a glass jar, cover it, and place it somewhere warm like inside the oven turned off for about 8 hours. Then refrigerate it. That's it. You'll have a yogurt rich in real probiotics, free from additives and dyes, that nourishes your gut flora and, by extension, your brain. Making your own yogurt is a small act of independence, of caring for your body, and more importantly, for your mind. And the best part? You can flavor it however you want with real fruits and ingredients you trust. Now, we've reached the most anticipated part. If you've always believed that salmon was the hero of healthy eating, get ready for a shock. Food exposes one of the biggest nutritional deceptions today. It might be sitting on your plate right now, looking perfect, but inside, it's working against your brain. Food, the salmon that's hurting your brain at the beginning of this video. I warned you with a phrase that sounds absurd. If you want to damage your brain, eat salmon. Now you're going to understand exactly why. True salmon wild caught from deep, cold waters is a gift from nature. It's packed with DHA and EPA, omega-3 South, nutrients that literally feed your brain, strengthen neural connections, and can even reverse early signs of memory decline. But here's the problem. That kind of salmon almost never makes it to your table. What most people buy at the supermarket isn't wild salmon. It's a farm-raised version called salmon trouta, different fish that's fed industrial pellets and artificial colorings to make it look like real salmon. Yes, that healthy-looking pink color. It's artificially added using a synthetic dye called astaxanthin. It's a chemical, not a natural pigment. And it doesn't stop there. This farmed fish is also exposed to hormones, antibiotics, and toxins from the controlled environments where it's raised. The result? You think you're doing something great for your brain, but you're actually consuming a fish with far less omega-3s and far more inflammatory substances. And this has a direct impact on your brain function. When your brain doesn't get the right nutrients, but instead gets a dose of toxins and waste, it starts to fail silently. You feel more mentally fatigued, more forgetful, more easily distracted, and worse. Over time, the risk of diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia goes up. So how can you tell which salmon is the real deal? Always look for the label wild caught. That means the fish was caught in its natural environment. If it says Alaska, even better. Avoid anything labeled farm-raised, cultivated, or from aquaculture. But I know it can be confusing, so let me ask you, would you like a dedicated video here on the channel showing you exactly how to spot real salmon and avoid falling for the salmon trout trap? If yes, drop a comment below saying, I want the real salmon video. If enough people ask, I'll create a full guide just for you. And speaking of salmon, there's something special waiting for you in the pinned comment. I left a strange but powerful recipe down there, one I learned from a select group of functional nutrition researchers. It's a unique preparation made with natural ingredients and a touch of medicinal wisdom. And it can help restore your mental clarity, energy, and even your mood. If you truly want to protect your brain, it's worth checking out. You'll find it in the pinned comment. And trust me, the people who've tried it say they can feel the difference. Now take a deep breath, because the next food might be sitting on your table right now, and you probably have no idea how much damage it could be doing. Let's move on to Food 5. Food 5, white bread. Have you ever stopped to think that one of the most traditional breakfast foods might be one of the biggest enemies of your mind? Warm bread, crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. That slice with melting butter feels harmless, even nostalgic. But if that bread is white, refined from a bakery or supermarket, you're unknowingly feeding the #1 enemy of your memory. Glycation? It sounds complicated, but the mechanism is simple. When you eat foods made with refined white flour and low in fiber, like regular bread, your body quickly turns it all into sugar. That excess sugar binds to proteins in your body, including your brain, forming toxic compounds called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These AGEs speed up brain aging, inflame neurons, and sabotage your memory. A study published in Neurobiology of Aging found that diets high in refined carbs were linked to greater brain shrinkage in older adults, as well as poorer performance in memory and attention tests. And here's the scary part. Many people eat white bread 2 or even 3 times a day for breakfast, snacks, dinner. It's like they're feeding brain degeneration on a schedule. But don't worry, there are smarter choices. You can swap white bread for true 100% whole grain bread with at least 3 grams of fiber per slice sourdough bread, which is easier to digest and has a lower glycemic impact, or go even further with versions made from seeds, nuts, or even almond flour. Now think about it. You spend years eating the same bread every day, thinking you're just curbing your hunger, when in reality, you're fueling forgetfulness, brain fog, and mental fatigue. Is that daily comfort really worth the price of losing your mental independence 10 years from now? If you've ever been fooled by pretty labels and quick health promises, welcome to the club. The truth is, marketing is clever. It dresses poison up to look like vitamins, and we, on autopilot, toss it in the cart, thinking we're making a healthy choice. But now you know. You know these foods aren't just high in calories or bad for diabetics. They are silent saboteurs of your mind, your memory, and your energy. And maybe you're asking yourself, do I really need to cut all of this out? Can't I have a slice of bread every now and then? A fun, colorful yogurt on the weekend? Look, I need to give it to you straight. Every time you eat these foods, you're feeding inflammation. Yes, your body might tolerate small doses. But the real question is, do you want to just get by? Or do you want to truly live with clarity, vitality, and independence? That answer is yours to give. But if I can offer you one friendly piece of advice, avoiding it is always better than trying to fix it later. Start with simple swaps, one at a time. And if you want to take it a step further, go to the comments and tell me if you'd like a video showing how to tell real salmon apart from the fake salmon trout. Hardly anyone knows this, but understanding the difference can change the way you eat fish forever. And since we're talking about protecting your brain, if you haven't seen my previous video about the 7 vitamins that saved my mind after 60, you're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. That video is the perfect complement to this one. Here, you learned what destroys your mind. Over there, you'll discover what can rebuild it, revitalize it, and protect your brain against the test of time. So go watch the video next to this one and find out which vitamins left. Even my doctor's shocked by the results. And before you go, tell me in the comments which of these foods is the hardest for you to give up. Your comment might help someone else who's going through the same struggle.